Recently, there's been a debate about interracial dating and marriages and things like that. And before I begin, this is not an attack on biracial people or people that have mixed DNA. This is a video to enlighten us, to be hot or cold, and to purge our DNA, especially we Hebrews of other nations. Now this is multi-layered, and when I'm done, there should be little or no question about is this right or wrong. Short answer about is interracial marriage and dating right or wrong, look in the Bible. And I will get to those many verses about it being wrong. You won't find one verse, however, saying that it is right. Not one. But let me get started into this. Out of all we've been through, you know, you have Europeans, white people, pretending to be us. But we want to mix ourselves with them. Think about it. And I'm going to get into scripture how we started abandoning our own heritage when we start mingling with other nations. Think about it. You're mixing yourself. You're mingling. So what the Most High give becomes watered down. What he gave us becomes less important because we start focusing on the other side and the other nations. But DNA. Now you get a DNA test. And you know, that's one way to tell you what your blood is made of. The nation of Israel was created one way. We had one bloodline. And throughout scripture, we were told to maintain our bloodline. But let me get started. Let me get started. All right. Now when a black person and a white person have a child, most people say the child is black. Okay. To you, I say black is a color, not a nationality. What nation are you? When you become mixed, intermingle with other nations, what nation, what's your nationality? See what I'm saying? You said a child is black. Okay, black is a color, not a nationality. Okay? The original Hebrews didn't have European and Asian DNA. These are facts. Let me keep going. Let me see. Let me get rid of him for now. Now this is a thing I'm looking at the Australians, and this is 3 generations to get rid of the black person, to get rid of your Hebraic DNA. Okay, you got a half blood right here, and you got a quadroon daughter, and look right here. You can't even tell he was ever black. You can't tell his family is black or Hebrew at all. This should be a firm indicator. Look at all the commercials, how they promote this. And if the world is promoting something, something is wrong. Okay? Just look at it. Half blood. Quadroon. She look white right there. She look white, you know. But he sure enough is white. He is no longer Aboriginal. Let me see what I got here. Let me see. Now, Aboriginal. How did the people go from this? Or Australian? How did they go from this to this? a conquest and intermingling. Think about it. How did the Arabs go from this to this? These are all the ones you see in the news. They European looking, white looking. Let me see. This becomes a problem when people begin to realize that Christianity has lied to them. They try to find the real nation of Israel. Where are they going to be able to look? How were we described in the Bible? As being dark-skinned and hair like wool, black, not intermingled. Our heritage, our keeping of the word, walking upright before the Most High, obeying His laws, statutes, and commandments. But having, through disobedience, we say the law is done away with. We keep the holidays of the heathens. And all these holidays are pagan and Satan worship. Let me see what I got here. Okay, let me just... Now, how did the Arabs go from this? How did the Arabs go from this? Look. Just look. Black. To this. Intermingling. Okay? You are not improving yourselves. The reason why some of us think we are improving ourselves is because we have been brainwashed through their media. Let's look. The Egyptians. And look what they show you. Black, you're a slave. White, you're royalty. See? And it continues on today. Look at this mess. What's this? Gods of Egypt, whatever this is, Exodus, whatever. Christian Bale movie about him being Moses. Let me see here. Let me move on. Same thing. Conquest. The Greeks, when they started taking over Egypt and stuff. I just want to see what's going on. How did the red man or the black man go from this to this? $5 Indian. Let me blow him up right quick. You see that black Cherokee Indian Native American warrior? You see that? I'm going to show a video right after this. How some of the Indians had Hebrew writings and how the Native Americans in the original definition, 1828 Webster, were copper color or dark skin. Let me get through this first. Let me see. Let's look. I've seen people white just like this talking about they Native American. I don't say nothing. I know what it is. All right. There's a reason why I have this here. You see red skin. Now this right here could be taken to an offense like the word nigger. You know, think about it. Look at his complexion. Black man. Let's look. All right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the Europeans' own dictionary and show you that Native Americans are black people originally. Using their own dictionary. This is the Webster Dictionary, 1828. You can look it up. It's a real book. It's not fictitious. Webster Dictionary, 1828. See it? And here's the definition of American. Putting it up there so you can read it. An American, adjective pertaining to America. Okay. All right. Now, a native of America. Now get this. Originally, that means the first. Applied to the aboriginals or copper-colored races. Black people. You see that? Now, white people are called Americans. You see how untruthful this is. Can't even find the words for this lie, these lies. You see that? To the copper-colored races found here by the Europeans. See, that's a different race right there. European and the original people. They wasn't called American, but that's the definition. It's telling you that the original Indians were black people. But now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. See, when they steal nationalities, they steal languages, they steal lands, they steal resources.
In 1860, David Wyrick, he's a guy who surveyed the Newark earthworks. He was digging into a mound near those earthworks, and he found a wooden coffin made of oak. They opened up the coffin and found a skeleton of a man holding a little box. It was about 8.10 inches in size. The box had been cemented shut here. This, by the way, is sitting in Ohio. Well, he opened up the box and he found a little man inside, a little black stone. They took it to scholars, and they looked at it. The man seems to be carrying something, and there's writing here at first they couldn't recognize. The writing is, they thought in 1860, some sort of Hebrew. Well, finally, about 20 years later, they found some rabbis living in the area, and the rabbis looked at that, and they could read it. They said it was an old kind of block Hebrew, and it was a rendition of the Ten Commandments. Now, this is another piece. Block Hebrew, they said they'd never seen anything like it. Mainstream archaeologists at the time called this a hoax. But then in 1900, or just about after 1900, in Israel, they found the same block-style Hebrew writing. Mainstream archaeologists still dismissed the findings. They found it in Israel, and they found it in Ohio. But there was another stone that they found that they couldn't argue. This is the Bat Creek stone. It was found during the course of an official Smithsonian evacuation. The Smithsonian didn't understand the meaning of the writing on the stone. They thought it was Cherokee, since it came from Cherokee country. They didn't realize that it's actually Hebrew. They had published this originally upside down. They threw it in a box at the bottom of the Smithsonian, put it in the basement. Many years later, a scholar took it out of the box, looked at it, and went, oh my gosh, it's upside down. It's Phoenician, ancient Hebrew. So what's going on here? What is that about? Where is that history?
Brought here by Hebrew people in search of a new promised land. I want to know if this stone, inscribed with the Ten Commandments, might have been kept inside the ark, or was it left behind as a clue that one of the Bible's most sacred artifacts is right here in the United States?
This is the Decalogue stone with the Ten Commandments written on it on all sides of it. And this is a stone box that the Decalogue was found in.
Okay.
So when it was found, it was enclosed in this box, and you couldn't even see the stone inside. The box is carved out inside exactly to fit the Decalogue stone.
Well, who's that guy?
Well, this figure here on the front that's wearing a robe and a turban and holding either tablets or a breastplate, and over his head in these Hebrew letters it says Moshe or Moses.
Oh.
So must be Moses.
Okay, that's Moses, all right.
Who delivered the Ten Commandments.
Ten Commandments, okay. It seems to pass the scrutiny of the skeptics as far as the Hebrew text in the language, so now I'd like to try to add some evidence to this whole discussion. This thing is polished after it was carved. It's scratched like I would expect. Well, it fits snug.
So the box in itself took an awful lot of work. I mean, if it was really a forgery, you wouldn't go to all that much trouble to make a box for it. So I think that speaks to its authenticity, that someone really this was very important to someone.
This is a lot of work, and it's polished. It's got the detailing of the grooves. It wasn't made, as far as I can tell, from modern machinery. Geologically, I don't see any problems here that would make these things obvious hoaxes. So the skeptics have rejected this.
Well, that's been a factor, but Hebrew is an odd thing to find here.
The fact that it's odd doesn't mean that it's not genuine. What it boils down to is really the problem with these artifacts is that the academics don't like them because they don't fit the paradigm. And unfortunately for them, you can't dismiss things simply because you don't like them.
Right.
And so the evidence to me seems clear. There's no reason not to accept these as genuine, legitimate art.
No, I heard people sometimes say, it doesn't matter, we all the same. Well, that's not true. Genetically, we are not the same. Let me get over into these Bible verses and things. And just I'll be back. Just give you something else to look at in Bible verses. Let me go over here first. Let me see. One more. Okay. Now, these bears are all different. Just look at it. Just look at it different. Just say they different nations of people. They're just got to unwash the brainwashing. If you got the grizzly, you got the sloth bear. You can clearly tell that they are different. That these two bears are not the same. The Asiatic black bear. Anyway, you got different species of bear. And right now, since the ice is melting, the polar bear is in danger. The ice is melting. Now, what would happen to the polar bear if we start mixing with all other bears? The offspring would be neither one of these bears. If any one of these bears mix cross species, neither one, the offspring would be neither one. Y'all got to understand that. Okay? Satan has manipulated mankind's DNA. So keep that in mind. Let me continue. Let me delete this. All right, I'm gonna give you identical. People say all of us are the same. But the definition say similar in every detail. Exactly alike. Let me move over here right quick. Let me see. Let me move. One more. Maybe I passed it. I covered it up. Just bear with me. If we all the same, okay, how come some of us get sunburned and some don't? If we the same. Huh? If we all the same, why do some of us get sunburned? If we all the same. If we all the same, why do some of us get eye cancer? If we all the same. See, we've been lied to. That's why our eyes are dark. To keep from getting cancer. Because we belong to hot regions. Okay? We are not the same. We gotta get rid of that lie. Okay? Develop, it says exactly alike, identical. We are not identical. Let's put that lie to bed right now. Now this is, these are identical. They're the same. They're not the same person, but you get where I'm coming from. They look the same. See what I'm saying? They dress the same. They got the same parents. The same bloodline. Okay? Now, if you mix either one of these drinks, you no longer have a Pepsi or a Coca-Cola. You got a mixture. Same thing with these. You mix into this, you got a mixture. You don't have one or the other. You have a combination. Okay. Move on. Now, guess I'll go right here. Matthew 27. Well, Matthew 27. Okay. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilence, earthquakes in various places. This is a prophecy of the end time. That word nation is ethnos, ethnic, DNA, your kind, your tribe, your bloodline. That's what the word nation is. I'm about to show it to you. You see that ethnos? Ethnicity. Ethnos. Probably from ethno. A race. See? Races going to be fighting against each other. Nation will rise. Let me see. Against nation. See that ethno at the bottom again? This is what the Bible says. We wonder where this racism coming from. And then you look at Daniel, and when it's talking about the clay, the feet not cleaving together, the clay and the iron not cleaving together. Okay, let me see. Delete that. Same thing in Mark. Nation rising against nation. You see it? Kingdom against kingdom. Ethnic groups. The nations started in Genesis. Ham, Shem, and Japheth. That's where it started. Man just started calling ourselves different things. Okay. All right. Now this here, I'm just going to show you this. Let's just say you got a biracial person. Half black, half white, which neither is a nationality. You either have one tribe like half descendant of Shem or Ham, or you are European or something. But this is neither one. It's a mixture. I'll show you how easy it is to white yourself out. Now, usually, since we encounter so much self-hate amongst ourselves, when we have biracial children, they go to the European side. I'm just going to show you what it is. Now you 3/4 white. See, now your DNA is colonized. Now your DNA has been colonized by the colonizer. Or, I wouldn't say it like that. That's not a good... But you see what I'm saying? You're erasing yourself. And then, all it takes is... And you're gone. White it out. Erased. Where are you, Jacob? Where are you, Jacob? Where you at, Jacob? You done turned into a European. You've become a European. You've whited yourself out. You can't never tell any of his people ancestors was black. He's completely crossed over. And vice versa. It goes back the other way. I'm reading some Bible verses. This is Joshua 23:12. This is when we're going into the promised land. I know Moses and Joseph married women before the law was written down. I know this. But once, read Deuteronomy 28, when Moses said and the people agreed that we was going to do everything that was written in the law that was just established. We said we was going to do it all. And we didn't. Said we were going to take care to keep the Most High's commandment and instructions that he's given us. Yahushua HaMashiach, the Messiah, said he did not come to destroy the law. So, the law is valid. Right? Now, this is Joshua. Therefore, take heed to yourself that you love Yahuwah, or else, if indeed you do go back and cling to the remnant of these nations. Now, notice the Most High didn't tell us if these women were willing to assimilate into our culture. or these men was willing to live like we did. Notice he didn't tell us to do that. He didn't tell us to keep these different nations as husband and wives if they was willing to submit and come under us. Notice he didn't tell notice he didn't tell you could keep, he didn't tell us, our forefathers, you could keep your wives, your foreign wives, if they obey the law or they obey the instruction that the Most High gave us. Notice he didn't do that. Ask yourself why. He never said in all these Bible verses that we could keep our pagan wives if they obeyed the Most High's instructions. Think about that. What's going on? Think about genetics. Think about Satan has a seed in Genesis. Think about the strange stuff going on in the human genome. Okay? And for those of you who don't understand, those people that the Most High instructed us to kill and not have pity for, their DNA was corrupted. They had fallen angel DNA. I know some of y'all don't understand that. But let me move on. Let me see what else I got here. Get rid of that. Here's Ezra chapter 10, verse 11. All right, you see the green. Now therefore make confession to Yahuwah, to the Elohim of your forefathers. Make confessions. Go get back to the covenant and do the Most High's will. Separate yourselves from the people of the land and from your pagan wives. Notice, he didn't say, keep clean, see if you can find anyone that was going to obey the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. Notice he didn't say that. He said, separate yourself from the peoples of the land and from the pagan wives. Okay? Here's some more. Here's some more. You ought to read the book of Maccabees. Alexander is talking about Alexander the Great. How the Greeks come over and tried to make us forget about our heritage and adopt their pagan ways. Think about the United States today. They want us to stop being who we are and assimilate into their heathenistic ways. You know, they make laws about our hair. Things like that. Just being who we are. They've colonized the word, and so to speak. They've replaced the feast days into pagan holidays. And look at this. But let me go and get on into this. Let me read this. Try not to make this thing too long. This is Maccabees. You can read it. It's his first Maccabees. You ought to read that. Books that these heathens took out the word. In those days went out of Yasharel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and cut a covenant with the heathen. Forget about the covenant we agreed to with the Most High. But cut a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. Since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. These are our own people. We're not men of Israel, wicked men. All right, here's verse, chapter 1, verse 15. And then it said, they made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. These Greeks hung our babies. Read it. They hung our babies. These people, these the same people, killing our babies, hanging our babies, trying to make us become them and forget who we are. That's why they don't teach us who we are. It's not their job really to teach us who we are. That's why we busy go to school, learn all about them. You go to church, you're learning about white people. You turn on the TV, you're getting white thoughts. And then the white supremacists wondering why we going after their women and men. Talk to your people and tell them to quit brainwashing. And but get mad at the higher ups, the ones running the education. You can't sit there and brainwash the people, teach them all about white people, and portray ourselves as something negative, and then wonder why black people are going after your women. I mean, think about it. But anyway, stop mixing with these heathens. Okay? Let me see Nehemiah. Let me see where I'm at. Okay, here's another problem. Book of Nehemiah. And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves and that they should go and guard the gates and sanctify the Shabbat. Remember me, O Yahuwah, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of your mercy. In those days I also saw Jews who had married women of Ashdod, Ammon, and Moab. You know, now y'all know Ammon and Moab are children with Lot and his daughters. Moab and Ammon come from Lot and his daughters. Notice they were kin to Abraham. Anyway, we're not even supposed to, we was instructed to stay way away from them. Their bloodline is something going on. But anyway, half of their children spoke the language of Ashdod. We began to get away from our own language. And could not speak the language of Judah. Couldn't speak Hebrew. Started forgetting about who we are. See, they're supposed to be learning about the Most High through us. But we turn our backs on the Most High and going full force, full fledged to the heathen, but spoke according to the language of the one or the other people. All right, that's Nehemiah 13:23. Let me see. What else I got? Ezra 9:12. There's more Bible verses. I'm just going to go over a few of them. Now, therefore, do not give your daughters as wives to their sons. Now, slavery and rape, that's different. That's a different situation. If your blood is mixed, that's a different situation. It's not here. This video is not to condemn anyone. I'm in no position to put down anyone. My job is to show the Most High's intent and show the way and show what's going on. Mixing yourself with you don't know what you don't know who. Just think about this. Revelation is going to get hotter, and some people susceptible get skin cancer, get the eye cancer, but you're scared of your melanin, and you want to whiten yourself up, so you're going to be susceptible to this skin cancer and whatever else for diluting your genes. All right. Now, therefore, do not give your daughters as wives to their sons, nor take their daughters to your sons. Never seek their peace or prosperity, that ye may be strong and eat the good of the land and leave it as an inheritance to your children forever. Now, think about this. It seems like every time one of our black men get hold of some money, he going grabbing a woman from these other nations. The money is going out of the black community to the white community or some other nationality. Where is the inheritance? Keeping us impoverished and out here doing something strange for some change. It's time we woke up. Okay, let me move on. Sirach. Ecclesiasticus 26, this is the Sefer version. When you have gotten a fruitful possession, hold on. My son, keep the flower of your age sound and give not your strength to strangers. Let's see. When you have gotten a fruitful possession through all the fields, sow it to your own seed, your own bloodline, trusting in the goodness of your stock, your race, your bloodline. The Most High gave us from the beginning your own seed, from your own stock, from your own race, which you leave shall be magnified. Your children gonna increase in having stuff. They won't be out here scraping around wondering where the next meal gonna come from. Having the confidence of their good descendants, seed, race. Think about it. All right. Let me see what else I got. Nehemiah 13:26. Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things? All these strange women turned his heart to pagan gods. Yet among many nations there was no king like him, who was beloved of his Elohim. And Yah made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, pagan women caused him to sin. Now, the custom of these other people is paganism. They don't understand the things of the word. They cleave to these pagan holidays, these pagan rituals. Their family, generation. We're supposed to be leading these people out of paganism, not joining them and marrying into their paganism. Okay? Let's see what else I got here. All right, Deuteronomy 7:3. Nor shall ye make marriages with them. You shall not give your daughter to their son, nor take their daughter for your son. All those Bible verses. Now, where is the verse that the Most High said, convert these people and keep them as your husband and wife? Where is that Bible verse? Where is the Bible verse that says it's okay to marry people of other nations? Where is that Bible verse? You're not going to find it. He's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. Let's see what else I got. Now, just do a Google search. People with tails. And this woman got a horn. This is in genetics. These traits are carried down through the bloodline. This is common. This ain't nothing rare. Look, read it. This ain't nothing rare. The Most High told us not to be mixing our seed, spreading our seed. He told us to remain pure and obey his word. All right. This is a 2011 magazine article. You Are Not Human. It's talking about Caucasian and Asian people got foreign DNA in their bloodlines. Caucasian and Asian. Where did the foreign DNA come from? Okay? 3% Neanderthal, 5% Denisovans, and a whole lot of bizarre earlier ancestors. Bizarre. You should check out my video, The Descendants of Fallen Angels. And Watchmen, he have a couple videos. I'll show you the picture of where you can go to when I re-edit this link. Well, let me show you what's going on. Show you some more receipts. Let me see here. Here's one. This is National Geographic. Why am I Neanderthal? Type that in your Google search. Type that in there and start reading. They are not denying this. Why would they say their DNA is different than ours? Why are these people trying to kill all the black people all over the earth? Why don't any of the dark-skinned nations have any weapons of mass destruction? Why all these bombs and stuff in the hands of these white-skinned individuals? Who taught them how to make these weapons? I just want to put these questions out there. They build stuff to destroy. Let me see. The Neanderthal DNA refers to the DNA content of the Neanderthal man that is now extinct. Now keep this in mind. Neanderthal is extinct. Now they got Neanderthal DNA. They're having trouble reproducing. Now think about it. You want to run around here and grab their women and they already having trouble reproducing. What do you think? I mean, just think about it. You're putting an X on your back. They're having trouble reproducing. All right. However, a recent study has shown that their DNA content is found in the genomes of Asians and Europeans. They didn't say nothing about black folks. There is a, there's probably some in black folk do the rape and stuff like that and intermingling. There's a theory which says that over 400,000 years ago, a major migration took place from Africa. All right. What race has the most Neanderthal DNA? Asians had the highest percentage of Neanderthal DNA. And Caucasian between 2 and 4%. African tribes do not have Neanderthal DNA because Neanderthals never lived in Africa. Let me move on. Do your own research. Type this stuff in and do some reading. Worldwide distribution of the B006 haplotype. The Neanderthal haplogroup based on a sample. It's just saying it's present among non-African population. That's where it's prevalent in non-African. I'm just saying the same thing. Non-African. I've did several videos, about leprosy. How some white people, if you read 2 Kings 5:27, a whole bloodline of white people was created right there. Giza was cursed with white skin, leprous skin. It's called clean leprosy in the Bible. They changed the name to vitiligo back in the 1500s. They changed the name of this word to vitiligo. I got several videos talking about this. Here's the Bible verse, right? Leviticus 13:29-30. If a man or woman have a plague upon the head or the beard, then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in slight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair. Yellow. Then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry scald, even a leprosy upon the head or beard. I know some people ain't going to like that, but it is what it is. Like I said, we are not the same. We are not the same. We are not. You don't want to put the weaknesses of another nation, of other nations, in your bloodline. Think about the tails and the foreign DNA, where it come from. All right, Genesis 2:2-7. If Yahuwah formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostril the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Just look. Just look at the dirt right here, and look at ruddy. You have to put in ruddy animals in there. You put ruddy in, sometimes you have a bunch of white people with reddish skin. Ruddy animal, look. Ruddy, look. Ruddy. David was ruddy. You see that? Not pinkish, not reddish. All right.
You just didn't know. But it's not obscure. Big old giant castle. I took these pictures. Cape Coast Slave Castle. When you first walk in, there's two things that greet you. One, not only the cannonballs and everything else, but that's not actually meant for enslaved Africans. That's for the European invaders. They're fighting each other. So on one side is a female dungeon. On the other side is a male dungeon, slave dungeons. And what happened immediately is upon entering, when they would bring the enslaved men, women, and children in, they would rape the women within 50 feet of the men, in front of their fathers, their brothers, their sons, their husbands. They would rape them to remind them, he can't protect you.
You heard Dr. George DeGroot talking about our Holocaust, about them raping our women in front of us. Now, knowing the history, we can begin to understand and unravel why we seem to be at each other's throat. But the most of the burden is upon the men. We are the leaders. We are the protectors. Okay? Now, I'm going to veer away right quick. Why don't they promote this? Just ask yourself. How often do you see examples of black families on television, commercials, movies? Why are they always promoting this interracial stuff? Now think about it. What have these people given us that's benefited us? Okay? Let me get back on track here. Mark 3:27. No one can enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods unless he first binds the strong man, and then he will plunder his house. Men, our houses are plundered. Our houses are plundered. We've been separated from our women and our children. We've been separated from our heritage, primarily due to our disobedience. It's time to take back what was ours, what is ours. All right, let me read some of this Willie Lynch letter to further show you what's been done to us. They've separated our women. I'm just going to read a little bit of it. You could download the PDF yourself, Willie Lynch letter, PDF, type it in and read it. They also use interracial children to divide us. This is in this same letter. But I'm just going to read the part about the breaking of the woman and the marriage to wrap this video up. All right. Now, it said the breaking process of the African woman. It started over there in them slave dungeons. It started in captivity. It started centuries ago. It's time to end this mess. Take the female and run a series of tests on her. All right, see if she will submit to your desire willingly. Okay, test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. Think about it. Right now they use welfare to divide our homes. Government assisted housing. The men have to go. And the children, not having any direction from the men, usually do things that would end up in prison, making them money on their prisons, which is on stock market, and providing them with slave labor. Remember, the 13th Amendment allows slavery. Slavery never was abolished. It never was abolished. They still use it today. They got our people behind bars for nonviolent offenses, working in the high-paying jobs that when they get out, they cannot even apply and get these same jobs that they're doing behind the prison walls. They don't have a place to stay when they get out. They're getting paid pennies, which will not pay off their fines. So that they're more likely to break the law, go back to prison, and continue this slave labor for them. But let me continue on. I'm just giving you the rundown on an example that they're doing what they're doing to us. If she shows any sign of resistance and submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip. Now they use the economic bullwhip. They cut your government assistance to make you comply. They tell you to put your child on some ADHD medicine that's going to make him sterile, going to destroy his heart. You object to it, they're going to say they're going to cut your government assistance. Still a bullwhip to extract that last bit of resistance out of her. Take care not to kill her. For in doing so, you spoil good economics. But that right there might be out the window. They're having trouble reproducing. They took this country from a bunch of black people, and it's beginning to turn black again. But anyway, what I'm saying, our brothers, we got to We got to get our sisters back. We got to talk to our daughters, our sisters, our mothers. Okay? All right. Let me see here. And then it's talking to her father, the children following her lead, because the man is gone. The house is plundered. The strong man is tied up. His hands tied. He's not in the house. Okay. Let me see. You're talking about, okay. Let me skip down. Raising the male offspring to be dependent like her. Think about it. These brothers, some of these brothers don't even want to get a job. They rather live off women. Think of it. Meanwhile, the girls grow up to be women with government assistance. The first thing they holler, they don't need a man. The government taking care of. The government is paying them not to marry. Marriage cuts their government assistance. Where that bullwhip at? Getting married cuts your government assistance. That's that bullwhip. They're paying our sisters to be single. Okay. And also it's talking about, in this letter, you have to read it yourself, the Willie Lynch letter, PDF, type that in, that our women has been psychologically damaged and trained to be to raise our young boys to be weak. She was psychologically trained him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. See, our women see a bunch of negative images of us. Think about the violence, the shooting, getting killed. Okay? All right, let me see. Go on to the next one. This here is the marriage. Okay. They said we breed two black males and 2 females. Then you take the males away from them and keep them moving and working. Think about it. Prison. Take them away, keep them moving and working. Or give them jobs where they're gone. Or give them white women. But anyway, it's the same thing. The man is gone, and the woman is raising the offspring in reverse, teaching the girls to be independent and so-called strong and don't need a man, and the man is dependent on his mama. A lack of guidance from the father. It's the same thing. Okay? The Most High could have made us mixed. He could have made us white. He could have made us purple. But he chose to make us black, Negro, nappy hair, like wool for the most part, dark skin. That's how he wanted us to stay. As I went over in the video, you got corrupted DNA floating around out there. Now, just ask yourself, why did all the people on the earth start out black? All over the earth, the people started out, just look up the word aboriginal and indigenous. It tell you the people was black. And now, through rape and mass murdering, they are mixed and they become white. For instance, the Hispanics are a breed of the Spanish people and the black people. Mostly our raped Hebrew sisters, creating another race. Just like the Arabs, black mixed with the Greeks or whoever it was that conquered them, creating other races, other nations. All you gotta do is look at the DNA. It's gonna tell you it's gonna be Caucasian in there, or something else. But that does not mean they cannot. Salvation is not for them. It means the Most High has a balance. He created boundaries, and we are to stay within those boundaries that He made for us. and to bring and defeat and fight the seed of the serpent. Now, if you can't understand this, you go ahead on and do what you want to do. A lot of us is filled with lust. That's what it's about. And you're gonna get caught up in the judgment of the Most High. He is not playing. If you open your eyes, you see judgment is coming swift, it's coming hard, and it's consistent. So repent and return back to the word. Time is short. Shalom.